Jack cursed as he dashed down the corridor. He heard the distant blare of the scoring horn echoed through the arena, followed by the sound of cheers from his team's side, confirming what he dreaded. Despite his best efforts in catching up to the others, the enemy team had scored, tying the match. "Jack?" Scifi's voice called from somewhere down the corridor, from where he'd come from. "We've got 2 incoming!" "Yup," he called back, acknowledging the request for help. He led it back up to one of the open chambers, and spotted movement to the right as a blurry figure rushed out of one of the opposing tunnels, a cursing Scifi sprinting after them close behind. "Oh no you don't," Jack growled, as he moved to intercept, running quickly to close the distance, as the blurry figure swore and muttered a word of power. Immediately, several identical figures popped into existence, and moved in sync, as the charger tried to dodge Jack, only to let out a squeak as the human got low and tackled the real mage around the waist, lifting them off their feet before crashing down in a heap. They briefly grunted as they fought Jack for possession, before the human ripped the ball out of their hands. "Doesn't work if I already know which one is you," Jack chuckled, as the mage let out a groan on the floor, clutching their stomach. "Thanks," Scifi panted, as Jack handed her the ball before pointing to the right. "There's another one coming down around that way with more people. That's your field of expertise." "Sounds good," Jack grinned, despite the hell he'd gone through. "Good luck. I'll race you to their goal." "You're on," Scifi cackled as she headed off. "Nika's got one up on both of us." "Can't have that," Jack chuckled, as he looked to where Scifi had pointed, before frowning at what he saw heading their way. Across the field, the enemy captain had the ball tucked under his arm, the oversized lemur whipping his tail back and forth to keep Val at bay. Bentham had curled up into a bull form, and was attempting to overtake the lemur to cut him off, but was warded off by a shadowy figure from behind, who summoned a wall of force to stall her. "Oh no you don't!" Jack growled, as he rushed to intercept. "Igaro, on your left!" he heard a voice yell out, and the enemy captain turned his head in a panic to look at the rapidly approaching human. "Shit!" The captain, Igaro, cursed as he thrust his hands forward, spraying the floor between them with a puddle of slick black liquid. "Shit! Grease spell," Jack thought, but it was far too late to dodge. So he just went for it. Jack wobbled as his trainers hit the slickened ground, and he quickly pinwheeled his arms as he fought to stay upright. His feet slid as the ground refused to give him the traction he needed, and he barely caught himself, bending his legs and lowering his stance to spread his weight wide to try and keep his balance as he kept moving forward. His feet skidded like crazy, but somehow he was able to stay on his feet, and he used the sheer momentum to his advantage. "Fuck!" the lemur cursed, as Jack charged, barreling into him, the impact sending both boys crashing down into a heap. Igaro tried a desperate pass over to whoever had called to him, but Jack intercepted with his hand. The ball knocked painfully off the top of his fingers as it spun through the air, before landing straight into the puddle of grease with a splash. "Nice one, Jack!" Bentham called out, as she uncurled herself to see what had happened. "Ball!" Val yelled out. Jack barely had time to roll onto his side and get out of the way, before he was nearly trampled by an incoming pile of bodies. The botanical arena erupted with cheers and hollers from the excited crowd, as the ball skidded wildly across the floor, caught in the immediate chaos of a dozen players lunging, slipping, and fighting tooth and nail for possession. Jack spotted Critch come out from nowhere, paws outstretched for the ball, only for a sudden gust of energy to yank it away towards the frog-like Dressquox. Val charged and tackled the Dressquox into the grease, slipping himself as he tried to grab the ball, which only slid further into the puddle. He spotted a dark shape sprinting from the side and diving towards the ball, before Bentham blocked them with her large body, the momentum knocking her backwards into the slick grease, the dark shape tumbling in too, as they landed awkwardly next to her. "Caldros, we need you here!" Igaro yelled out, as he grabbed Jack's foot and pulled him back as the human tried to make a dive for the ball and get out. Suddenly, a flying creature swooped down and plucked at the ball, slowly lifting it up with dug-in talons as it struggled with the weight. Jack felt a sudden weight on his shoulder as Critch leaped off him, awkwardly landing and kicking off Bentham's head before tackling the bird, which squawked as it struggled to stay in the air. "Thello, get back on defense!" the captain yelled towards the summoner in a panic, who Jack spotted at the back of the chamber towards the enemy side. They focused on commanding the bird as it struggled to throw off Critch. "Remember the plan!" "Plan's fucked! The outsider's still up, the meek-sounding summoner argued, sounding worried. No, we're prepared for him. Secure the back line, Igaro ordered. Don't lose your nerve. Getting cocky, are we? Jack growled with a grin, as he shakily made it to his feet, despite the captain trying to hold him down, grabbing the lemur around the waist and lifting him up before slipping on the grease. They both slammed back to the ground, the captain getting the worst of it, as the grapple was broken. Someone take out the lister! Someone shouted, as the rattling managed to dislodge the ball from the bird, landing on the edge of the pool. Critch, watch out! Val warned, as he tried to get closer to support him, before he was tackled by the speedy Vivren, sending them both skidding along the grease several meters. Guys, Critch called out, as Jack tried to make a mad dash towards the lister to help him break away. Anyone out? Fuck! Critch could barely react in time, as a familiar blurry shape materialized out of nowhere and blasted Critch with an orb of orange light, causing him to drop the ball and roughly smash to the ground. Critch began clawing in a panic around himself as if he was seeing things. Shit, blurry guy must have been invisible, Jack realized, as the mage in question grabbed at the ball before a pink-furred Kizan barreled into them from the side, tripping them up and causing the ball to bounce along the ground, as Nika grappled the blurry mage and dragged them to the ground. You're mine, Jack growled as he reached for the ball, awkwardly scrambling along the grease puddle until something slammed into him, sending both him and the ball flying as he spotted the dress squawks awkwardly pointing with his palm towards him. Val grabbed the mage's arm and pinned it to the ground, stopping any further spells from hitting him, as the grass was churned up by the power of the force mage, to the cheering of the crowd. Fuck! Where did the ball go? Jack thought to himself. He grunted, pushing himself back upright as his trainers kicked up slick globs of muck, spotting a dark lump that was probably the ball, caked in dirt. He surged forward, grunting as his feet slipped much more easily underfoot as he half sprinted, half skidded through the grease, dropping to one knee as he lunged for the ball. Neutros! He heard a deep female voice croak out, as he saw the ball shudder a bit, right before his fingers gripped it, doing a double take as they did. What the hell? Jack thought, as he tried to lift it up, reaffirming his grip and getting both arms tightly around it. Why is it so heavy? Damn. Magic bullshit or not, this isn't too heavy for me. Ball's weighted! Get him! The same voice called out to the rest of the team. He looked up and spotted a pine green figure with spindly arms running at him, likely the same one that had scored with the ball he failed to grab earlier. Oh no you don't, Jack thought to himself as, in a moment of inspiration, he spun his body around and punted the ball along the ground like a bowling ball. This caught the mage by surprise as it smacked into their ankle, completely wiping them out. They collapsed to the ground cursing and clutching their ankle, as Jack leaped over them, grabbing the ball again and finding it was the normal weight now. I got it, he called out to his team. No you don't! Aquivalis! A familiar voice yelled out, as a jet of water smacked into Jack with the force of a fire hose, sending him spinning end over end through the grease. The ball flew free again, bouncing off a nearby wall with a loud squelch. Jack hit the floor hard once again, skidding on his back through the magical oil, spotting the avian looking his way with a challenging grin. He gritted his teeth as he groaned in pain. Again. Throw it up! The avian Caldrus commanded, and the spindly mage on the floor fought through her own pain and cast a word of power that flung the ball up into the air, while Caldrus used their ice jump to propel himself in the air to catch it. Only to be blasted by a powerful gust of wind that sent him wildly off course, landing roughly into the puddle with the rest of them. Hope I'm not too late, Zell called out from somewhere as Jack ran for the ball, which was sent flying towards him by what he realized what must have been the shaman's air spirit. There's too many of our people here, what about the other balls? Val called out to the team in a panic. I don't know where they are, but their keeper passed the first ball to one of them, Nika answered quickly. I lost them after scoring. Suddenly they heard the sound of the buzzer ring out, accompanied by cheering from their side of the field of play. What the hell just happened? Val asked incredulously. Did they just score? Fuck! Nika cursed. That must have been the ball I scored with. They must have rushed it down when the referee ordered me back. I thought they were still behind me. Yes! Nice job, Oriole! The lemur captain called out, after placing one of his fingers to his ear. That's the Vivren, right? Jack thought to himself, as he tried to figure out what had happened. Shit. They must have passed the other ball to her during the brawl without us noticing. Scifi's got the other one and was making a run for it last I saw, he whispered to Val, not wanting to reveal the information to their opponents. But she hasn't scored yet. The Eladra took in a nervous breath before another buzzer sounded out. From their side again. Fuck! Val cursed. How? Shit! Jack swore with a growl. They must have taken the ball off Scifi and gotten that one around us too. Damn! New plan. Jack, you're meant to be a charger. Get that ball up there and score back. Val ordered him, clearly frustrated. Nika, you support him and find out what happened to Scifi. Bentham and Critch, get your asses down to our goal. Check on our defense and get the balls back up here. Got it, Jack nodded as he legged it, dodging another blast of water as Caldrus got up, before Val muttered something and charged the mage, blocking them from giving chase. Nika followed close behind Jack. Incoming! The Kissin called out, and Jack spotted the small diminutive enemy summoner at the end of the corridor, who looked up to spot them in turn as the mage began to frantically wave their hands around. That guy's been filling up their side with summoned monsters, Nika warned him, as they quickly closed the distance. Sure enough, with a flash of light, two towering brutes began to manifest from the walls at the end of the corridor. Forged from the tangled vines and jagged bark, they immediately charged forward to intercept the two of them. Jack, left! Nika shouted, skidding under the legs of the first monster with a slide that was far too quick for it to comprehend. He didn't hesitate, sidestepping the monster and jumping up to kick off the wall as it swung at him. The momentum carried him forward as he kept the ball tucked close. He felt something was off and quickly jumped up on reflex as a tendril of shadow stuff reached up from the ground to snag his legs, just missing him as he kept on dashing forward. The summoner looked at the two of them with worried, bulbous eyes as they got closer, though to their credit, didn't lose their nerve as they rapidly chanted and waved their arms. Right before a familiar purple shape tackled the mage from behind. Miss me? Scifi grinned, as she used her wings to swiftly get to her feet and started to run along beside them. Where the hell have you been? Nika asked with a scowl. It's 3-1 to them. Shit! The Scritter cursed. I'm sorry. I'm not used to being a charger. I pushed out here with one of the balls, but the summons were able to alert them to where I was. Their water mage and shadow mage were able to double team me. Damn, that's unfortunate. Jack sighed, as Nika nodded in agreement. Yeah, what's done is done. Not your fault. Let's start catching up with this ball and go back to help the others. The Kissin told them the rough plan. We're not out of this yet. Watch out, Jack warned, as he saw the corridor turn slightly darker. Scifi? He passed the ball to the Scritter, who caught it easily, just as a shape burst out of the shadows to leap at him, with twin palms glowing with some kind of charged spell. Jack twisted, dodging the magical attack and driving his shoulder into the Shadow Mage's ribs, winding her and knocking her aside as she was caught completely by surprise. They tried to twist around to avoid getting caught, but Jack's arms wrapped hard around her torso, dragging her off balance and preventing her from changing tack, to go after Scifi instead. Nice try, he growled, as she shoved the speared mage off of him and to the side, the spell on her hand fizzling out, now useless. Catching up to Scifi and Nika, they turned a sharp bend and burst into a corridor filled with several shimmering walls of force that one of the protectors was conjuring up. Nice try! The mage called out to them from the end of the corridor. There's not a chance in hell you'll get past this. Oh shit! The mage cursed as Jack took one look at the barriers, shrugged, and immediately charged at the closest one, roughly impacting it at high speed with a shoulder barge, shattering the barrier and barely slowing his momentum. Scifi and Nika following close behind, as Jack did the same with the next. Merowyn, they're here! Help! They yelled out, as Jack practically stumbled through the final barrier, with Nika rapidly slipping past him. She closed the distance with the mage, leapt up, and launched herself at his head with a kick, knocking him out. Hi again! The Keeper cheerfully called out to Nika as they made it to the final stretch, as a huge gust of wind wasted no time in buffeting all three of them. Scifi skidded back and carefully passed the ball over to Jack, who dug in and slowly began to approach the Keeper one step at a time. I need help! Merowyn! The Keeper called out, receiving a call back from close by. Shit! I can get to the goal eventually, but we can't afford to waste any time, Jack thought to himself, then grinned as he heard the movement of both Nika and Scifi behind him. Guys, think fast, he whispered to them, hoping they could hear him over the wind. He turned around to obscure what he was doing to the enemy Keeper, and told them the plan as he walked backwards into the wind. Nika dashed out from around him, distracting the Keeper as he suddenly surprised them by launching Scifi high into the air. The Skritter spread her wings to quickly glide over the wind and control her descent, allowing her to catch the air currents before letting gravity do the rest, stylishly dropping down in the enemy goal, ball in hand. The buzzer rang out once again as Scifi scored, to loud cheers from the crowd around them. "Ow!" Jack grumbled as he rubbed his shoulder, very much regretting both that move and his direct approach to the magical barrier problem on the way, though bizarrely thankful that his earlier punishment by ice had at least numbed him a bit to the pain. "Worth it," Scifi grinned. "Well done," the referee congratulated them. "Now you know the rules. At least 100 meters distance and out of sight of the ball." "Yep," Scifi groaned, as the three of them began to charge back towards their own side of the field of play. "Here's where we split up," Nika decided. "I don't want them to sneak that ball around us again, so we need some coverage." "And if we spot them, yell like hell to let the others know?" Jack asked rhetorically. "Exactly right," Nika grinned. "We're chargers. It's up to us to catch up." "Easier said than done," Scifi sighed. "But we'll give those damn wizards a hell of a fight. They're so bloody annoying." "Damn right we will," Jack agreed with a grin. "Game's not done yet, and they go down easily enough. Besides, I've got to give them a receipt for almost freezing my arse off at the start." "Good point," Nika chuckled, as she headed off down a side corridor, heading right, while Scifi took the left, leaving Jack at the center. "See you at half-time!" Jack jogged down the center corridor, adrenaline still humming through his still twitching limbs. The roar of the crowd around him echoed like a thunderstorm as the game picked up the pace, with the audience going wild at the action. But then, suddenly, Jack felt a strange feeling tingling down his hand, subtle but unmistakable. Checking it, he noticed that the ruby of his Ring of the Berserker was glowing an ever so faint red and was vibrating with unease, feeling almost like an animal on a lead sensing a predator in the distance. Because there was. Looking around, he saw nothing but the faces of the crowd watching him, shouting and chanting. Faces blurred past, until one stopped him cold. Svartal. The Nira stood motionless, arms crossed over his chest, his golden slit-pupiled eyes staring directly down at Jack like spears under his hood. He wasn't cheering, wasn't sneering, wasn't even pretending to be casual, just watching him with a sly smirk on his face. Jack's breath caught despite himself, before suddenly something smacked into his back and knocked him roughly to the ground. And amidst the crowd of excited, cheering students, the Nira's eyes never blinked.